In a world where kingdoms fight for power and land domination, Final Fantasy XII's politically oriented story has been subject to major criticism from fans and is regarded as one of the less memorable games in the franchise, but not forgotten as it received a remaster in the form of the Zodiac Age in 2017. In contrast to popular opinion, I find Final Fantasy XII to be one of my personal favorites in the Final Fantasy series. It gives me very Star Wars-esque vibes with the aesthetics of the Archadian army similar to those used in the Star Wars universe, only at a much smaller scale. I also enjoyed the gameplay and the progression system as I can freely roam the world of Ivalice while leveling up my characters by farming enemies and chaining kills in order to obtain rare items. However, there is one thing that I will agree with, and that is the lack of depth in some of the characters in the main party. While much of the plotline in Final Fantasy XII revolves around Princess Ashe's quest to reclaim Dalmasca after the death of her husband and its defeat from the hands of Archades, Vayne is considered the main protagonist of the series, with his hatred for the Empire fueled by the death of his brother in the Battle of Nalbina Fortress. If you have watched my previous Final Fantasy XII lore videos, you will see that I have covered Vayne Solidor, the ruthless yet charismatic leader of the Empire that seeks to put history back in the hands of man, and to install himself as the Dynast King despite the selection of Ashe by the Ecuria for the title. In today's lore video, we will be taking a look at his younger brother, the noble and peace-seeking Larsa Solidor. While Vayne is the ruthless strategist who seeks power over all of Ivalice, Larsa fights for a peaceful world where all kingdoms and societies can coexist in peace. During the events of the game, he aids the party at various points to foil his brother's plans and establish peace in Ivalice, not seeking the throne for himself. We will be taking a closer look at this and other events surrounding his life as we look into the story of Larsa Solidor. Larsa was born 12 years before the events of Final Fantasy XII as the youngest of 4 sons to Emperor Gramis of Arcadia. While we do not know the personalities of the 2 oldest brothers, as they were mainly noted for being killed by Vayne as a means to show his ruthless side even on his quest for power, Larsa portrays qualities that are seen as the complete opposite to Vayne's. He likely saw Vayne and their older brothers as an influence in his early years and had adapted certain personality traits from them, resulting in his honorable characteristics. Larsa believes in achieving peace through diplomacy and negotiation with the neighboring kingdoms instead of the violent-oriented route Vayne had pursued. While Larsa did not agree with Vayne's methods, he stayed by his side as he could not turn his back on his own family and held a sliver of hope that Vayne would redeem himself and establish peace with his enemies, quest he pursues during the events of Final Fantasy XII. In his quest for peace, Larsa befriends Alcid from the kingdom of Rosaria to help with the diplomacy efforts, despite Rosaria and Archades being the main powers of Ivalice at the time and were at odds. We first meet Larsa, then known as Lamont, in Bergerba, on the way to the Lusu mines. Upon reaching the mines, Balthier becomes suspicious of the young boy's knowledge of Nethicite and interrogates him for information, until they are attacked by Begamnon and his group of bandits, in which Larsa and the party escape. Upon escaping, they observe Larsa being accompanied by an Imperial crew, exposing his true identity as Larsa Solidor, youngest son of Emperor Gramis and younger brother to Vayne. Larsa later acquaints himself with Penelo, assuring her safety and reunion with Vayne despite Penelo's fear of Vayne's brutality, much to Larsa's confusion. He eventually helps her reunite with the party on the airship Leviathan while helping Vossler escape, leaving a gift of manufactured Nethicite to Penelo. Throughout the story, we see Larsa do whatever it takes to avoid the path of war, even if it means uniting the people through a Dynast King, something Ashe is hesitant to achieve due to her fear of power and how it can affect her. In fact, it is this quality of Larsa's that gained the endorsement of the Imperial Senate, who wishes for Larsa to become the next emperor upon Gramis' death. In addition, 2 of the Judge Magisters, Gabranth and Drace, swear their fealty to Larsa, with Drace sacrificing her life in defiance to Vayne's rise to power, and making Gabranth promise to protect the young lord at all costs, a promise he upholds. But all the while, war brews between the resistance led by Undor and the Empire led by its now de facto leader Vayne, who now keeps a closer eye on Larsa once he unleashes his ultimate weapon, the Sky Fortress Bahamut. He keeps Larsa by his side to protect him from enemy fire, but also to prevent him from foiling his plans by aiding the party. When the party confronts Vayne in the fortress, Larsa seizes opportunity. After various attempts of convincing Vayne to make peace with Dalmasca fall to no avail, he finally draws his sword on his older brother and helps the party defeat him. But despite this, he still holds his brother dear as he can't bear to see Vayne fall and results in him being wounded by Vayne, who revives Vayne to keep fighting, but still loses to the party and their new ally Gabranth. As Vayne attempts to finish Gabranth off, Larsa intervenes and absorbs the Spheriots with the Nethicite and shows his quality of protecting those around him, even those who serves him, showing his noble side. When Vayne falls in the Sky Fortress grounds, saving Rabanastre from complete destruction, Larsa calls for an immediate ceasefire with the Resistance and becomes Emperor of Archades along with Basch, taking the guise of Gabranth as his right-hand man. ushering a new era for Archades and all of Ivalice. And thus ends the tale of Larsa Solidor, a character whose determination to uphold peace in Ivalice was undeterred by the environment he grew up in. And with the help of the party and in part the resistance, he was able to establish that peace and become the Emperor, a title that he never pursued. Larsa never wanted glory nor power, but rather the safety of his people as he knew and represented the noble side of House Solidor. And with that, I leave you all with this question. What do you think of Larsa Solidor? Where would you rank him in terms of the best supporting characters in Final Fantasy? Let me know in the comment section below, and let me know if there are any other characters and events from other games you would like me to cover. And of course, leave a like on this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you want to see more related content. Other than that, this is Enzo signing out, and I will see you all soon.